Hello, my friends. Again, let me say welcome to another warm day in the month of June. And John Sports Corner is going to warm you up. So let me say again, John, welcome to your platform, John Sports Corner.
Thank you so much, Trevor, and a very good afternoon to our friends and family. Thank you for visiting and staying with John Sports Corner here on the SosoBone Media Network, the global Caribbean media capital.
Yes.
Let me remind you to go to Winner Circle Radio in the SosoBone shop and shop till you drop. There are T-shirts there, backpacks. Of course, there are also the mugs which you can get,
Oh, yes.
and the Great Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee that fill the mugs. So get a mug, get your Blue Mountain coffee, and you're off to the races. Let's start with sports as usual. Birthdays. Yesterday, one of my former great tennis players celebrated a birthday. And I like to sing this song, Trevor. Oh, Venus, make my dreams come true. Venus Williams celebrated her birthday. Of course, she won 5 Wimbledon titles and 2 US Open titles along the way. Hansa Parchment, Olympian out of Jamaica, he celebrated a birthday yesterday. And today, one Mr. Michael Chambers, the guru of the first Cricket Hall of Fame, Mike celebrates a birthday today. He's, of course, the executive director of the Cricket Hall of Fame. Also celebrating today, Lou Brock, a former great baseball player, he celebrated today. And tomorrow, Sanjay Ayer, Olympian and world champion medalist out of Jamaica, celebrates. Trinidad and Tobago and West Indies cricketer Joshua Da Silva celebrates her birthday. On Friday, Simone Forms, world champion netball medalist, celebrates her birthday. On Saturday, one of my favorite women West Indies players will celebrate her birthday, Indiandra Dotting. Omar Brown, the other half of one Miss Veronica Campbell Brown, he will celebrate her birthday on Saturday. On Sunday, Lilith Hodges, Olympian out of Jamaica of yesteryear, celebrates her birthday. And former Jamaica and West Indies cricketer Jerome Taylor celebrates a birthday. Basketball, of course, OKC Thunder 3-2 up on the Indiana Pacers as they go into Game 6 tomorrow. Will there be a Game 7? And that's the jackpot question.
No Game 7, John.
No Game 7.
No Game 7.
You don't want to take it back to OKC to try and win it in front of home crowd?
No, you want to do it on the road.
You want to wrap it up?
Yes.
Okay, but again, tomorrow, Game 6 of the NBA Final between OKC Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. In track and field news, Jamaica National Senior and Junior Track and Field Championship set for June 26th to the 29th. And a first look at the entry list is quite revealing. It was initially reported that Elaine Thompson-Herah, Omar McLeod, Roger Stoner, and Jaden Hibbert, along with Brianna Liston, had not registered for the senior championships. However, both Omar McLeod and Jaden Hibbert have now registered.
Okay.
Two-time Olympic champion Thompson-Herah and the fastest woman alive has not made a 2025 appearance after 2024 season filled with injuries. Roger Stoner, that is, who won the Paris Olympic gold medal in the discus last year, has competed twice this season, but no report why he has not entered the Jamaica National Championships. Brianna Liston has had an injury-riddled indoor season at LSU, which is Louisiana State University, and has not competed outdoors since turning pro.
Oh.
Jaden Hibbert has had his share of injuries in his young career also, including knee surgery last year, and has not made an appearance so far this season. But his coach, Travis Goffert, says his training is progressing well.
Okay.
Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Sharika Jackson, of course, they have registered for the 100 meters in the national championships. Shelley, of course, has given up the 200, so she has not registered there. Meanwhile, Sharika Jackson is the defending champion in World Champion 200, so she has an automatic berth to Tokyo 200 meters. So she doesn't have to run the 200 in the championships. However, it also means that Jamaica can qualify 4 athletes in the 200 meters.
Yes.
Normally you can qualify 3. But with Sharika and automatic berth, Jamaica can qualify 4 in the 200 meters. Okay. And Sharika has run both the 100 and the 200 this year in warm-up meets. Last week I said Dale Brown would join me today to do a pre-national championship preview, but we decided to put it off for next Wednesday, when we hopefully have a final entry list available from the Jamaica Administrative Athletic Association.
Okay.
Podium finishes for Lamar Distin and Tajay Gale at the Cabo Nuri Games, a World Athletics Continental Tour gold meet in Finland. Distin, 1.91 meters, was second in the high jump on the countback, while Gale leapt 7.97 meters for third in the triple jump. Here's a problem though, Trevor. Tajay Gale seemingly hurt his leg on his 6th jump.
Oh boy.
What appeared to be a hamstring injury, but hopefully it is not serious, and he will be able to take part in next week's national championships.
I mean, it's a dangerous injury, John.
Yeah, it is. Diamond League results from Sunday's Stockholm Diamond League meet. A couple of podium finishes for Caribbean athletes. Jamaica's Akira Nugent, 12.37 seconds, second in the women's 100 hurdles. Julian Alfred of St. Lucia blazed to 10.75 seconds to win the women's 100 meters. She's going to be hard to beat in the upcoming World Championships. You remember that bred in Jamaica, Trevor, HTB, hard to beat?
You know, John, you never should have said HTB, you know, John.
And South Africa, the World Test champions, defeating Australia by 5 wickets at Lord's on Saturday morning. Australia 212 and 207. South Africa 138 and 282 for the loss of 5 wickets. For South Africa, Aiden Markram 136 and Temba Bavuma got together at 70 for 2 in the second innings and put together a 147-run partnership for the third wicket that set up the South Africa win. Markram 136, again Bavuma 66, while Kagiso Rabada had match figures of 9 for 110. For Australia, of course, Pat Cummins, the captain, 6 for 28 in the South Africa's first innings.
Aye.
Player of the match, none other than Aiden Markram. But let us not forget the captain, Temba Bavuma. He hurt his leg before he got to double figures in the South Africa's second innings, got treatment on the field, and hobbled his way to 66 in the 147-run partnership with Markram. Also, in the first innings, with South Africa wobbling at 30 for 4 for the loss of 4 wickets, Bavuma got 36 in a 60-run partnership with David Bedingham. Steve Smith of Australia suffered a compound fracture of his right little finger from a ball that flew off the bat of Temba Bavuma in the South Africa's second innings chase. Based on the severity of the injury, it is likely he will miss at least the first test match against the West Indies, and that series begins June 25th in Barbados.
Okay.
And what happened there, Trevor? The balls that were coming off the bat through the slips were not carrying. So apparently Steve Smith decided to move up a couple steps closer to the bat. But then this one flew, and apparently how it came off the bat, between the bat and Bavuma's body, he didn't pick it up immediately.
The right time to address.
And it hit his hand awkwardly. And of course, when he got up, his finger was broken or dislocated. Recommendations suggested by ICC Men's Cricket Committee, Trevor, to change one-day international rules and concussion rules across all formats have been passed by the Chief Executives Committee. Let's look at the 50-over version first. Currently, there are 2 new balls per innings, 1 bowled from each end in the one-day game. Here's the rule change. After the 34th over, the bowling team will choose one of the 2 balls which will be used from both ends for the remainder of the innings.
Okay.
If the one-day international is reduced to 25 overs or less, 1 ball will be used from both ends.
Okay.
As far as the concussion protocols go now, teams will have to name their substitute players to the match referee before the start of a match according to the following rules: 1 wicketkeeper, 1 batter, 1 seam bowler, 1 spin bowler, 1 all-rounder.
Okay.
If the replacement player also get concussed, he needs to be replaced. Then the match referee will decide or consider a player from outside the 5 nominations according to the like-for-like protocol.
Okay. Okay.
The changes will take effect as follows: June 17th for Test cricket, July 2nd for one-day internationals, July 10th for 2020 internationals. And coming back locally, congratulations to Richmond Hill High School, the 2025 high school cricket champions here in the city of New York, defeating Thomas Edison by 4 wickets and 2 balls to spare in a tense final Monday afternoon under threatening skies at the Baisley Park Pond in Queens.
Mm.
At one point, the commissioner came to me and said, John, I hope it doesn't rain. Because it was really overcast all day.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, I was kind of surprised when he texted me and said that the game was on, because I had asked him Saturday afternoon when the games was postponed because of
Uh-huh.
rain. When is the reschedule? And at the time, he didn't know what the reschedule was.
Okay.
Anyway, the Thomas Edison light bulbs, as they call them, batted first and posted 116 for 9 from their 20 overs. Richmond Hill gave up 39 extras in the Edison innings.
Whoa.
The Richmond Hill Lions started cautiously, lost some early wickets, and fell behind in the run chase.
Mm-hmm.
But they had their trump and player of the match at the wicket in Zahid Shanga,
Mm.
and he saw them home to their target, 117 for 6 from 19.4 overs. Shanga 58 not out. Interestingly, he was also the MVP or player of the match in last year's final against the same team.
Okay.
Richmond Hill, of course, winning their third straight on a trot, while joining John Adams High School with 5 overall high school cricket champions.
What is the history of high schools cricket in the area, John? How many high
But
schools are involved in cricket at this time?
I think it's about 12 or 14, Trevor. I will
Oh,
have to verify that.
uh-huh.
But I think it's about 12 or 14 high schools
Mhm.
that are involved.
Okay, and this
And
season,
by the way, a high school official came to me in the park
uh-huh.
and asked me, how come he has never seen a U.S. cricket official at one of the New York high school games scouting for under 19 cricketers?
Oh,
And
it
I
is,
have seen some pretty good cricketers there, Trevor,
is
especially this youngster, um, Shanga,
mm,
Jahid Shanga. But
mm.
Trevor, I saw him take a catch, a one-handed catch
Oh boy.
in the deep,
Mm.
and he just stuck up his hand, and it stuck like glue.
Stuck like glue. A nat
you
so
know,
you can say he's a
and,
natural then.
and of course, right away in the celebration, Trevor, because it was really a beautiful catch in the deep.
Yes. So the question
It,
is, John, in regards to your comment to the absence of officials and any presence of officials at these matches, John. Who do we hold accountable for that neglect, John? And how long do we let them continue that neglect, John? Is it that the league has not assigned a community person, or that they have no interest in the development that's taking place at this time and at this stage and at this age, John? How do we explain that? Is there somebody we can ask to come on this program and justify its absence, John?
the problem, Trevor,
Mm-hmm.
U.S. cricket is in shambles.
Ah,
Administration, that is.
okay.
Yeah. And I think they have problems with ICC, who is supposed to be the governing body of the so-called governing body of cricket.
Okay.
But of course, the big issue with cricket, they do not have a governing body like football, soccer.
Hmm.
Whereas FIFA say yay or nay, is not the same with cricket.
Maybe they should get King Charles.
And I'm not sure. You see, right now, England, Australia, India kind of control what happens with cricket, and
Yes.
they don't seem to want to have a a governing body.
Oh, they like it the way it is.
And I think, one of our former presidents, that was one of, I think, his goals to try and get that kind of governing body. But seems as if our Caribbean counterparts didn't like how he governed and voted him out.
Politics and politics, John.
Politics and politics. Moving along, though, Trevor, West Indies head coach Darren Sammy says he's delighted with the hard work being put in by his players in the lead up to the first test against Australia in Barbados. Sammy is hoping to get Shamar Joseph back to the Shamar Joseph that bowled in his maiden test series against Australia a couple of years ago. The series against Australia signals the start of the 2025-27 test cycle of the ICC Men's World Test Championships for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
The teams will play for the Frank Worrell Trophy. Australia is due to arrive in the Caribbean shortly, and they set up a training camp at the Windward Cricket Club on the eastern side of the island.
Mm-hmm.
The first test at Kensington Oval, June 25th to the 29th. The second test will be played, of course, in Grenada, the third test in Jamaica, and that test is to be a day-night affair. And by the way, news out of Jamaica, the lights and the scoreboard at Sabina Park will be fully operational for the Australia tour.
When is the Australia tour, John?
It starts, the first test is the 25th.
Of June.
In Barbados, yeah. And then they move to
Sabina Park.
the second, but for the third test, which is in July.
And they're promising us that the light will be on.
Lights will be upgraded to meet international standards. Apparently, the lights are already up.
Okay.
And they said that from what I saw an interview with the president last night, Dr. Bennett, the president of the Jamaica Cricket Association, and he says that the scoreboard will be up next week. Okay. And it's state-of-the-art scoreboard, Trevor. Yes. And it was the lights and the scoreboard apparently were constructed in India. India had sent, I guess, engineers to Jamaica to do their specs, and then went back to India to construct the scoreboard and the lights, and they are back in Jamaica now to put them up.
Okay.
So the Jamaica Sabina Park is well on the way. Now we just need
hallelujah, John.
Well, we just need somebody now to donate some paint. If you know what I mean.
Yes. Well, maybe, John, maybe now that you can play night games, we'll have more economical use of the stadium.
Yeah.
And maybe even have some schoolboy cricket there at night, John.
Well, as I said, the Australia game, West Indies game, is supposed to be a night game, a pink ball game. And they play Jamaica Premier League football matches also at Sabina Park now.
Okay. So
again.
Okay.
Yeah. So the park is being used. The facility is being used.
Yes, very good, very good, very good.
Mm-hmm. Moving along now, Guyana to host the 4th season of the Women's Caribbean Premier League, scheduled for September 6th. The inaugural edition was held in St. Kitts and Nevis in 2022, while 2023 and 2024 seasons were held at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Trinidad and Tobago. The three teams competing are the Amazon Warriors, the Trinbago Knight Riders, and the Barbados Royals. The final scheduled for September 17th. A 166-run Duckworth Lewis win for South Africa women over West Indies women in Game 3 to seal that series at 2-1. South Africa women 278 for 6 from 45.5 overs when rain ended their innings. Tasmin Brits 101, Laura Woolvard shared in a 184-run opening partnership. Marizon Cap, meanwhile, got 34, while Affie Fletcher picked up 3 for 53 from her 10 overs. West Indies asked to get 298 from 45 overs when rain interrupted their chase a second time.
Right.
Following that rain break, the West Indies target was again revised for them to get 288 from 39 overs. West Indies managed to get only 121 from 27.5 overs. Jazara Claxton got 43, Alia Aline 32, Masabata class 4 for 25 from 6 overs, Nonkululeko Mlaba 2 for 25 from 7, while Aneri Dirksen 2 for 1 from 0.5 overs, that is 5 balls.
Yes.
Professor, here again is my issue with Duckworth Lewis rule. And I have to wonder why cricket bodies aren't screaming that it's not the best solution to a rain interruption or rain interrupted game.
Yes.
In this match, South Africa women scored 278 in 45.5 overs.
Right.
West Indies asked to get 298 from 45 overs. That was 20 runs more. Rain again, and the target revised
to 39.
And asked West Indies to get 288, which was 10 runs more
from 39
overs.
I think they have a math problem, John.
I don't understand this Duckworth Lewis rule, Trevor. Why they could be asked to get more runs in less overs. To me, if there was time for the West Indies to bat 45 overs, why not ask them to get the same 278 or 279 to win the game?
Well, that would make sense. That is, you look at the average that the other team has for the amount of overs that they did, and you apply the average now to the next team for their inning.
Because you know how much runs was scored after each ball.
Right.
So even in the second interruption, how can you now ask West Indies to get 288 from less overs, 39? It makes no sense. Duckworth Lewis to me makes no sense. It's interesting that leaders of cricket in the different countries are not crying out about this Duckworth Lewis.
Now, when did this Duckworth Lewis take effect, John?
A couple years ago, few years ago. They were always trying to figure out how to determine a rain delay or a game interrupted for whatever reason. And you were not able to play the full complement of overs. And some kind of mathematicians, I think, in England come up with this Duckworth Lewis? Duckworth and Lewis.
Well, I mean, they're actually penalizing the team that is batting after the delay, John.
Well, based on this, sometimes it's even the team that batted first is being penalized, seem to be penalized. Let's say it has seemed to be penalized.
Uh-huh.
Based
But,
on it's
but
based on how many runs were scored within how many overs and that kind of nonsense. But I believe if there is time, if you are telling me in this instance that West Indies can but face 45 overs, then what was the score by South Africa women at 45 overs? And that is what you should be asked to make.
Exactly. If you only have enough time to play seven overs, then you cut it off at that point on the team that went ahead. And when you finish your 37, if you have not caught their score, because you know what they did at 37, right?
Yeah.
So you give the other team now a shot at the same score for 37.
37.
To
me,
I think it,
I can see if there is some kind of discrepancy and you can figure it out.
TV around there.
All right.
Okay.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, but it burned out.
But I tell you, it just makes no sense to me, Trevor. All right. So, Trevor, I'll keep pounding this. Somebody has to address this Duckworth Lewis nonsense.
Well, we can invite one of the decision makers, John, to come and explain it to us concerned citizens.
Yeah, concerned citizens of Sosofat TV. Anyway, it's now on to the T20 leg of the tour between South Africa women and West Indies women. Game 1 at the 3Ws Oval on Friday. Following the T20 series, though, Trevor. If West Indies lose that again, I think it's time to send Shane Dietz back to Australia and find a new West Indies women coach.
Hey, so we might have to be, we understand that the coach is always held accountable, John, because we see where the coaches are being held accountable in so many different sports. How do we justify when the coach is not on the field, as we like to say, playing the game, and they have a great expectations from the players, John? I mean, there are 6 things that are normally present, I like to say, when a game is in progress. You have the fans in the stands who come there to out of their faith that the team that was sold to them is up to a certain standard, and therefore it meets their expectations. You have the players who are being paid to do a job, whether it be to put the ball in the net or to hit the ball over the fence. Okay, they are being paid to do that job. And then you have the field, which is supposed to be in superb condition, so that no of the past above mentioned persons can blame the field. Okay. Then you have the equipment, whether it be the bat or the ball or whatever it is, that satisfies the rules of the game.
Yes.
And then you have the coach. Now, how does the coach fit, John, with these other pieces so that when the team loses, the coach is sent home?
You know, how does the coach help with the development of young talent?
Okay.
And he has been with the women for a little while now. And you're not seeing Mark Young. It's not his fault that Deandra Datting is hurt and has
Okay.
not played. That Stephanie Taylor, although she has played a couple of games, she's also kind of gimpy. She's been hurt since the last several months.
Okay.
And although she comes back and she plays, she's not what she used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And she is very important in the middle order as in batting.
Mm-hmm.
So too Deandra Datting. So two key components that they're missing from the team. But you're not seeing then the development of the younger cricketers coming forward. And I do see some talent there, but to me they're not developing as quickly, if you might say, as you would hope or would like.
But what is the what are the responsibilities of the coach? Because that has never been spelled out. Is it in regards to the team that he has, or does the player development and evolving of the players from the secondary to third to the premier level, is that also a part of the coach's responsibility?
You know, I think the coach has to put together, when he sees the player, he has to put together a program or programs that will help in their advancement in whether they're batting or bowling or whatever.
Okay.
Now, I will give this, Trevor. I believe the biggest problem in West Indies cricket right now is coaching.
Okay.
I think we have the coaching is poor, and that is why we have not been turning out cricketers the way we used to years ago.
So in other words, we need to upgrade our coaches.
We need
or we need to set up a training program that bring all the coaches on the same level, because some teams, John, some teams are winning, and is it because they have better players or because they have better coaches?
I have to believe it's better coaching.
Okay.
I mean, why does right now, for instance, in India, they seem to have a production line of cricketers that they can turn to.
Okay. Yes.
In Australia, you see the production line might not be as prolific as India, but every so often you see a new player arising from the ashes, so to speak.
Yes.
That comes along and holds its own on the international stage.
So going back to ICC, John, ICC is responsible for the international development of cricket, right? Because they are the umbrella under which everything falls. So if you have a
No, you're not Trevor. No, really, not Trevor.
Okay, so we got a problem.
ICC is just, as I say, that's the difference between cricket and football, soccer. Soccer has a governing body. ICC have a group that make rules that is passed on to teams to follow. But you see how FIFA can tell a country XYZ, or that you cannot do X, Y, or Z.
Yes.
ICC can't do that.
But FIFA put money into those countries, John. FIFA
And that is a part of the problem.
You see, FIFA
That
determined.
the revenue sharing,
Yes.
the revenue sharing is not equal. As in soccer, everybody get the same amount of money from FIFA. In cricket, is not so.
Okay.
And when Dave Cameron was president of West Indies cricket, this was one of the initiatives that he apparently was trying to push, that the revenue sharing has to change. And even now, with our current administration, I have heard them mentioning that this revenue sharing, that it has to be more equitable, which it is not now. Australia, England, India get the bulk of the revenue.
Okay, so those three are skimming. Skimming,
You
John.
said, repeat that again, Trevor?
Yes, so those three are skimming, John. I mean, they're getting the cream and everybody else is getting the bone.
Yeah, they're getting the bone. They're taking away the fat and leave the bone.
And leaving the bone.
Yeah.
Well, there should be an outcry on that, John, because what it has done, and I'm going to say this for all of them to hear, John, it means that they are contributing, John, to the underdevelopment, not only of cricket in the underdeveloped countries like the Caribbean, but of the economy, John, because it means that their injection of funds into the economy to develop and to educate, John, is not taking place, it's missing.
Yeah, but Trevor, I don't know how and when that is going to change.
Well, we have to let the governments, we have to ask the government to get involved, John, because they're using the talents that we have.
But remember, it's not just the West Indies. No, Trevor.
Well,
We talking Pakistan, we talking Zimbabwe, we talking Afghanistan, go across the line.
And we ask all of them that are being disproportionately compensated, John, involved. If they don't, John, there'll be no change. It means that these three will continue for the next 100 years, John, taking the lion's.
I think what has to happen now is that our administrators have to start pushing it and push it hard. That the revenue sharing has to be more equitable.
I think
and get some of the, and Trevor, and I have said this before, and I don't know how it could work or would work. There are 12 what I call them?
Divisions?
No, 12 countries that are call them the elite countries. I forget, I don't remember the name now.
Okay.
And then you have the other 90-something countries that are like second division.
Okay.
And I am saying, if the 9 countries who are not getting that revenue share and the second tier countries were to get together and decide to form a governing body to run cricket, their cricket for them, and exclude Australia, India, and England, I think that would spur a change in those countries and how they share up the revenue.
That is a long way around, John. I think, John, that we need to reach out to the Ministry of Sports in Jamaica. Okay? And just ask her to sue ICC. That because our Jamaican players are not being treated, are being discriminated against. You just have to only stick one needle, John, or one nail in that big flat tire and in that big tire. You only have to take them to court to represent, and suddenly she's not only representing Jamaica, that suit represents the West Indies and all the other 9 countries, John.
I tell you, I guess because I'm not a legal eagle, I don't know how that can work, Trevor.
I know that
I
I
don't
know
know the machinations of how that
what
would
I
fly.
know, John. It draws attention, John. It draws attention to the disparity.
Yeah.
Short of this, us talking about it on this program, and we have talked about this, John, not only in regards to cricket and the lack of development that's taking place. Every one of the sports categories that we have spoken about, from netball to swimming to basketball to soccer to cricket, we are faced with the same problem, John, that we don't have that plantation in place where we are cultivating the next generation of players, John. And we come back to the same thing. We don't have the money. Yet there's an umbrella organization, John, that is getting fat while the kids in the West Indies are starving. And we just have to rock the boat, call them out.
Yeah. And I think really, I think it's our administrators who are going to have to push it, Trevor, and really try to get, for instance, like get an Afghanistan and a Pakistan on board with them, and Zimbabwe, these countries, South Africa, to rock that boat.
Or what we do, John, we form a Hall of Fame committee of retired players, John, and we address the fact that the sport is not treating all the smaller countries fairly.
There has to be a way, Trevor, and I think it will just have to be a set of people or whoever who decide they're going to force this change and force.
Cricket Hall of Fame, John. Cricket Hall of Fame.
Maybe.
Hall of Fame.
Just quickly though, Trevor.
They have the credibility. They have the history of being a part of the sport, and they have the organization, John. What can they do? Not pick them for the next game.
Just quickly, let me just finish up this. We talked about Deandra Datting, and Coach Dietz provided an update on her condition. You know, she has been missing being selected to West Indies teams the last several months. But you know, she got hurt in a women's Indian Premier League game some months ago. And she is going through rehabilitation now in Canada. And hopefully she may be back for the Women's Caribbean Premier League that set to bowl off in September. And quickly, after 2 rainouts, West Indies defeated Ireland in Game 3 by 62 runs of their 3-game 2020 series. West Indies 256 for 5 from 20 overs. Evan Lewis 91, Shea Hope 51, Casey Carter 49 not out. Matthew Humphries 2 for 16 from 4 overs. Ireland 194 for 7 from 20. Ross Adair 48. Harry Hector 38. Mark Adair 31. Akil Hussain 3 for 27 from 4 overs. Jason Holder 2 for 90, 2 for 49 from 4 overs. And let's go to another break here, Trevor. And when we come back, we'll have some more cricket. We have soccer. We have a lot more to cover before we wrap up this afternoon. Okay, and we are back to John's Sports Corner here on the SosoBone Media Network. And just moving along to some more cricket news in the Caribbean at the Coolidge Cricket Ground, the West Indies Academy by an innings and 26 runs over Sri Lanka emerging players to tie that series at 1 apiece. Sri Lanka 241 and 107. West Indies Academy 374. the deciding Game 3 on Saturday, June 21st at the Sir Viv Richards Stadium. And again, Cricket West Indies named their squad for the Test series against Australia. And once again, I'll just run through the squad that was named. Roston Chase, captain. Jomel Warrican, vice captain. Kevlin Anderson, Craig Brathwaite, John Campbell, Kisi Carty, Justin Greaves, Shea Hope, Tevin Imlak, Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Brandon King, Johan Lane, Michael Louis, Anderson Phillip, and Jaden Seals. No Joshua De Silva, and I suppose with Shea Hope in the squad, there's no need for a third wicket keeper. No Kamara Roach, although he did come under consideration, I understand. And a comment I found quite interesting made by West Indies coach Darren Sammy when he said, Brandon King fits a role they have identified that needs special focus to take the team closer to the top of the rankings. Is that one of the opening spots that Coach Sammy is talking about? And if so, where does that leave John Campbell, Craig Brathwaite, and Michael Louis?
Well, maybe, John, maybe they're looking for a manpower coach, John.
And, you know, and again, I'll have to mention this, Trevor, that is interesting that despite being the only batsman to score over 600 runs in the recent regional four-day tournament, it appears Jason Mohammed was not considered. Anyway, the first test again, June 25th at Kensington Oval. The second test at the Grenada National Stadium, July 3rd through the 7th. And the third and final test, July 12th through the 16th at Sabina Park in Jamaica, which is again a day-night affair. Cricket West Indies have announced a historic three-match 2020 series against emerging nation Nepal, scheduled for September 27th, 28th, and 30th in Sharjah. It will be the first ever bilateral series between the two nations. Nepal will be using the games as preparation for their World Cup qualifying campaign. This Sunday, June 22nd, Cricket West Indies, in collaboration with West Indies Players Association, will celebrate the 50th anniversary of West Indies winning the 1975 Cricket World Cup by honoring Sir Clive Lloyd, members of the team, as well as other West Indies cricketers. Sir Andy Roberts, who was a member of that team, is not overly enthusiastic about attending the event.
Oh.
Sir Andy feels the team should have been honored when they returned to the Caribbean after the World Cup or shortly thereafter, and not 50 years later. He also feels the 1975 team deserves a stand-alone celebration, not grouped with the others.
You know, John, don't say anybody told that Asafa Powell was right, John.
Suffer. Anyway, Trevor, England has selected Ali Pope over Jacob Bethel for the upcoming Test series against India. The full England squad is Zach Crawley, Ben Duckett, Ali Pope, Joe Root, Harry Brook, Ben Stokes, Jamie Smith, Chris Wokes, Brandon Cars, Josh Tongue, and Shoaib Bashir. A notable absentee is Barbadian-born fast bowler Jofra Archer. He has recently overcome a thumb problem and is in line to play for Essex in the county championship at Durham starting Sunday. If he comes through that, okay, he could be in line to be recalled for the second test at Edgbaston or the third Lord's Test. And just a note here, Dynamic Cricket Club dinner presentation function scheduled for July 5th at 2050 Bartow Avenue in the Bronx. And you can call 917-741-6009 for tickets. And a reminder, tickets again are available for the 44th Cricket Hall of Fame induction ceremony scheduled for Saturday, October 4th at the Marriott Hotel in Windsor, Connecticut. And in football news, it's official now. Cavalier football captain Richard King is officially taking his boots to Scotland as his transfer to Scottish Premier League team St. Mirren was confirmed. He has reportedly signed a deal till the summer of 2027, with the club holding an option to extend for a further year. So once again, the Brits will have a King Richard, Trevor.
Yes,
I don't know
John.
if he will be the lion-hearted, but they have a King Richard.
Is there any transparency as to how much he signed for, John?
That has not been revealed.
Okay. I just hope that he got as much as the last player that they signed, John. That's all I'm asking.
That has not been revealed. But I understand they have been after him for quite a while, and he has finally put ink to paper.
Okay.
So I suppose he has gotten what he wants or been asking for.
Okay. Well, I just wanted that to be a little put out.
Moving on to CONCACAF Gold Cup, the 18th edition, the euphoria of the 3-0 win over Guatemala last week by Jamaica came to a screeching halt in their opening Gold Cup match as Guatemala bounced back, singing the Bob Marley One Love song Monday night. The first loss in the opening round of the Gold Cup for Jamaica since 2009.
Bruising, John, bruising.
For Jamaica, midfielder Isaac Hayden, stomach cramps, and defender Mason Holgate, knee injury, have been ruled out for the remainder of the Gold Cup with injuries. The availability of Damian Lowe is also questionable for Game 2, as he had to leave the field with an injury in the second half. Sule McCullough and Keroy Anderson have been called to replace Hayden and Holgate. Next up for Jamaica, Guadeloupe on Friday, followed by Panama next Tuesday. And these are not easy games. Jamaica need to finish in the top 2 of the group to advance to the knockout round. In other games so far, Curacao and El Salvador in a 0-0 stalemate. Canada trounced Honduras 6-0. Costa Rica squeezed by Suriname 4-3. Panama 5-2 over Guadeloupe. Mexico 3-2 over Dominican Republic. That was a ding-dong struggle. And of course, the USA 5-0 over Trinidad and Tobago. And Saudi Arabia squeezed by Haiti 1-0. Saudi Arabia is the team that had been invited to play Gold Cup this year. Jamaica Premier League club Arnett Gardens in the market for a new coach and assistant coach. Coach Xavier Gilbert, who led them to 2 third-place finishes in the Jamaica Premier League and CONCACAF Club Shield champions, has resigned and he's moving to Montego Bay United.
Oh.
And we understand, again, Gilbert is taking his assistant, Garnet Lawrence, with him.
Oh.
Arnett will have to find a new coach and assistant as soon as possible, as they are scheduled to begin defense of their club shield next month.
Mm.
The Gilbert move will be the fourth Montego Bay United coach in 2 years.
Okay.
Tiga Davis took charge of Montego Bay United midway last season and guided the club to the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. It will be the second time that Xavier Gilbert has taken over a team from Tiga Davis, as he was called to replace Tiga at Arnett Gardens in 2023.
Hmm.
FIFA Club World Cup bringing that up to date, up to speed. Flamengo 2-0 over ES Tunis. River Plate 3-1 over Urawa Reds. Fluminense and Borussia Dortmund in a 0-0 stalemate. Monterrey and Inter Milan in a 1-1 stalemate. Mamelodi Sundowns 1-0 over Ulsan HD. Manchester City 2-0 over Wydad Casablanca. Real Madrid and Al Hilal in a 1-1 stalemate. Al Ali and Inter Miami in a 0-0 stalemate. Palmeiras and Porto in a 0-0 stalemate. Paris Saint-Germain 4-0 over Atletico Madrid. Bayern Munich. I don't know if you call this cruising, Trevor. 10 goals to 0 over Auckland City.
No mercy rule. No mercy. No mercy rule.
Botafogo 2-0 over Seattle Sounders, and Chelsea 2 goals to 0 over LA. In Jamaica Women's Premier League, Fraser's Whip 11-0 over Federal United. Cavalier 4-1 over Los Perfectos. My Gully 2-1 over UWI. Real Mobe 2-1 over Springers United. Let's go to another break, Trevor, and we come back. We have gymnastics, we have netball, and we will cross the Caribbean. We'll be right back. Okay, and we are back. And once again, welcome to winners to John's Sports Corner on the SosoBone Media Network. Of course, you know, SosoBone is the global media capital of the Caribbean. And we start this time with gymnastics. Confession, Professor. The one sport I really haven't dealt with, although the president of the Jamaica Gymnastics Association, Miss Nicole Grant Brown, has always kept me apprised of what is happening with Jamaica gymnastics. Jamaica sent a team to the Pan American Artistic Gymnastics Championships in Panama and created history by qualifying 3 gymnasts in individual finals.
Wow.
Female Rhea Linton and men Hillel Baker and Courtney Bell. The biggest achievement of all is Hillel Baker making history by winning the first ever medal at the Senior Pan American Championships for Jamaica, a bronze on the pommel horse. Canada-born Baker finished 4th in the event last year. Meanwhile, Rhea Linton just missed out on being on the podium, finishing 4th in the vault.
Okay. So are
Netball news.
Are these local homegrown talent, John, and are we talking about some imports here?
Well, as I say, you know, I know Hillel Baker, he's from Canada. He's born Canada born. Not sure where the other 2 athletes are.
Okay.
were born, but they represent in Jamaica.
Okay, yeah, well, and that is great because that is what the diaspora is supposed to produce, John.
Mm-hmm.
Because we complain that we are not get, we don't get a selected cricketer from the diaspora. We don't get a selected home, soccer player from the diaspora. And even though track people that we might have up here, we are not seeing them running for Jamaica, John. Unless, only the ones who might be here on scholarships from Jamaica. So I and that is and we said it on the program before that, the diaspora really does not seem to be involved in cricket beyond the fact that, pen relay, track and field, which we are actively involved in. And they come out and support the reggae boys whenever they come to
But you see, with the pen relays, Trevor, it's the history of track and field, high
Yes,
school track and field in Jamaica.
yes.
Your diaspora coming to support their high schools when they come to pen relays.
And that is true. That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
And you don't blame them.
No. I mean,
Because the flags are flying
well,
in
well,
the stadium.
you see, that is all they really have because we have not built a national team that they can actually be supporting from a national level. So even when you say you have 10,000 Jamaicans in the stands, when the the race starts, John, every school up there screaming their head off for their representative on the field. So what you have is a Tower of Babel up there,
And I guess as the things are out of many one.
out of many.
Because they're screaming, but there's one, there's one voice screaming for Jamaica to win.
Yes.
In the end, they don't care which Jamaican school win,
As
They just
long
want this Jamaica to win.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Moving along though, Trevor, let's jump into some netball and the Suncore Super League scores we have from the weekend. Another win for Janelle Fauna Nemhard and her West Coast Fever. The 7th on the trot for the West Coast Fever since Janelle has returned to action, and they defeated the New South Wales Swift 79-68. Janelle dropping in 71 of 72 attempts on the basket.
Wow.
Melbourne Vixens 66-57 over the Melbourne Mavericks. Sunshine Girl Shimona Jack, who plays for the Mavericks, chipped in 30 of 31 attempts. Meanwhile, Giants Netball 66-63 over Sunshine Girls Romelda Aiken George's Adelaide Thunderbirds. Aiken George completed 49 of 55 attempts. And going across the Caribbean, two-time St. Lucia Junior Sportsman of the Year, DeAndre Calderon, to lead the national team to the Caribbean Regional Table Tennis Federation Championships in Barbados.
Okay.
He will be joined by DeWitt Nurse, Manny Eleutheri, and Joshua Lubin. They will compete in doubles and singles. Still in St. Lucia, Asia Lawrenson qualified for the Tokyo World Championship by winning the 100 hurdles at the Johnny Lauren Classic in Windsor, Canada, in a time of 12.69 seconds, the 17th fastest time in the world this year. The World Championship standard is 12.73 seconds. And get this, Professor. Lawrenson is a graduate from the University of Michigan, where she gained a master's degree in social work and was just one of 6 students with a perfect 4-point GPA, which is a grade point average.
Yes. Great. Beautiful.
Of course, also making the qualifying standard for the World Championship is your sprint queen, Julian Alfred, in both the 100 and the 200 meters. And we move on, or should I say we close this afternoon with a look at cricket history. India won the 1983 World Championship by upsetting favorites West Indies in the final. But it's their journey to the final I want to talk about, and their game against Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay.
Batting first, and at 17 for 5, India seemed on their way to be upset by Zimbabwe.
Mm.
Openers Sunil Gavaskar and Chris Srikanth failed to trouble the scoreboard.
Ooh, one love or not love? No.
Mohinder Amarnath 5, Sandeep Patil 1, Yashpal Sharma 9.
Oh.
But Raja Bini joined Captain Kapil Dev in a 60-run partnership to take the score to 77 for 6. Ravi Shastri didn't last long, scoring only 1, India 78 for 7.
Oh.
Mandan Lal scored 17 in a 6-2-run partnership with his captain Kapil Dev. India 140 for 8. Syed Kirmani joined his captain, and the pair took the score to 266 for 8 from the 60 overs. Kapil Dev 175. That included 16 fours and 6 sixes. Kirmani 24 not out. Zimbabwe came up 31 runs short at 235 of 57 overs. India went on to defeat England by 6 wickets in the semi-final, and West Indies by 43 runs in the final to win their first World Championship.
True grit.
And that's where I draw covers on John's Sports Corner for this Wednesday afternoon on the SosoBone Media Network. Thanks for joining us. Tell a friend that we span the sports globe.